name, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I've ever seen in my life. He was
Hello. That's a good time. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the November 6th meeting of the Planning Board of Dobbs Ferry. I move that we open the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Okay.
So far, so good.
The first item on the agenda is 231 Clinton Avenue, AHRB review for proposed fence installation on the property.
Good evening. My name is Dan Panesi, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant to extend an existing fence along the east boundary of this property. There's an existing vinyl fence, and we're just seeking to extend that vinyl fence to replace what is a deer fence that runs essentially the remainder of the east boundary of the property.
That looked pretty straight ahead. It's the same material.
Yes.
Does anybody on the board have any issues?
It's very straightforward. The only thing I was wondering was I know with some of these fences, including the one I put up, there's like the good side and there's the not good side. And I think the code requires us to have
Not as good.
This fence, I believe that Mr. Panessi's installing, both sides are good on it,
Okay.
correct?
Both sides are good or bad depending on your preference.
Yeah, no, but
They're the
they're
same.
equally bad.
Yes.
Is my point. Good.
And that is in our code.
Okay, are there any other issues? And that we
Any neighbors or?
Yeah, are there any neighbors here to speak to this?
Anybody online, Christina?
You have to open the public hearing.
There is
It's
a
not, it's not a
public
public, just AHRB.
So, all right, then we have a resolution.
Yes, we do. Whereas the applicant is seeking a architectural and historic review approval to construct a fence extension. The property is located at 231 Clinton Avenue. Now therefore be it resolved, the AHRB of the Village of Dobbs Ferry determines that based upon the findings and reasoning set forth below, the application for architectural and historic review approval is granted, subject to the following, and it specifically refers to the plans dated September 10th, 2025.
I make the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is 57 Bel Air Drive, AHRB review for the proposed fence installation on property.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jack Clayton. I'm the owner with my wife of 57 Bel Air Drive. We're looking to install a fence along two sides of our yard. It's about 4 feet high, largely transparent, and we have 2 young children, so that was the impetus for doing this. I think you all have seen the letter from our neighbor, and so I'm happy to speak to any of those concerns.
Actually, I don't think I saw a letter from the neighbor. Has anybody seen that or read it?
That was the reason that I'm standing before you today.
Okay, well, we still need to approve the project, but
Certainly.
what was their concern and how have you addressed it?
I'm happy to provide the letter.
Sure. As long as it's not a novella, we'll have a quick look.
No, I don't feel that the concerns are relevant.
This was more, the neighbor had concerns about a water problem, not so much the fence. But they did send us a letter, so that's why we had to put it on the AHRB.
What
For
does the fence
approval.
look like?
Say again?
That is in
Oh.
their document.
Yeah, the fence is all code compliant and everything.
Looks like, yeah, looks nice.
Okay, yeah, these other issues are not really related to the,
Correct.
to installing a fence, even though I'm sure they're
Much, Dan.
annoying. Anybody else on the board have questions?
So the fence will not affect whatever is in that letter?
Well, they were concerned about water running down the property.
Oh, you want to build a dam?
I wish a fence would fix those issues, right? We all do. Oh, jeez, I'm gonna go over this. Sorry, guys. Yeah, okay. All right, any other concerns, Dan? This is a compliant fence, this meets our,
It's totally compliant, yep, no issues.
Okay.
Ellie, do we have a resolution?
Yes. All right, whereas 57 Bel Air Drive is seeking AHRB approval, whereas the AHRB is familiar with the project site and general vicinity, now therefore be it resolved, the AHRB of the Village of Dobbs Ferry determines that based upon the findings and reasoning set forth below, the application for architectural and historic review approval is granted, subject to the following, and then site plans dated October 8th, 2022.
I make the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Next item is 25 Sandrock Avenue, AHRB review for proposed new deck on property. Anyone here to present that project?
Good evening, everyone. I am David Jack. I'm the owner of the property, looking to build the deck in my backyard. I'm not sure what exactly information what specific you're looking for from me, so I can answer any questions you guys may have.
Any lighting on the deck
No.
and all the
And the-
setbacks there?
So, yeah, we had issues as far as the setback, and that's all been addressed in the zoning
They
board.
have received all their variances, they needed a couple of variances, they received them, no problem. There was one neighbor at the zoning board that had some concerns, and now they worked it out.
Okay.
They have some bushes and stuff.
Okay, so they're putting in some screening as well as the deck.
Yep.
Got it. And the deck is permeable, it's got gaps between the slats? Okay.
Correct, yeah.
All right, are there any other concerns from the board? Dan?
Nope.
Okay.
No, it looks fine.
Valerie, we have a resolution?
Yes, whereas the applicant is seeking architectural and historic review approval to construct a deck in the rear of the home, where now therefore be it resolved, the AHRB, the Village of Dobbs Ferry, determines that based upon the reasonings and findings set forth below, that the AHRB approval is granted, subject to the following, and it refers to the plan set dated October 10th, 2025.
I make the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone.
Yep.
All right, the 15 Lewis Avenue project has been adjourned until December 4th, 2025 meeting. 253 Judson Avenue, public hearing for site plan reapproval for proposed exterior changes to the board-approved plans. I move that we open the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Hello.
Hi.
I remember some familiar faces from 3 years ago. My name is Michael Morfione. My wife and I, we are the property owners of 253 Judson. She cannot be here tonight because she is pregnant and at home with our 20-month-old.
Great, congratulations.
So as some of you might know, we've been trying to get into this house for quite a while. We had a fire and it's been some back and forth setbacks. Tonight in front of you, we're just trying to do a minor revision to the plan. After having our firstborn, we decided, between that and seeing the beautiful pool that is in the Village of Dobbs Ferry, we decided not to go with the pool and just replace it with pavers and a small greenhouse so we could grow some vegetables and not get eaten by deer. So that's our proposal. And so there is no, Mr. Olivieri, I saw your notes, the memos that were sent over. Suzanne couldn't be here tonight, but she asked me to address some of them. In the approved plans from 5/19/2022, yeah, 2022, in C4 and C5, you'll see the details of the bluestone that was already approved and the true pavers that are part of the driveway, which is not being affected in this change. The only thing that's being affected is the back here. There used to be a pool, and there's no longer a pool. And we spread out the pavers to be within already approved permeable square footage. And it's, after having multiple conversation with Dan and John, we're just under 100 square feet of permeability, so not to trigger any other kind of calculations needed. And I spoke to Thomas Kohaney from Hudson Engineering. If you need a letter from them to satisfy any of that, we could supply with that.
So there is an open engineering memo, one of the items on which is the drainage, the stormwater management plan has to be updated to reflect the new layout.
So would not trigger that?
I don't think there's, I mean, Anthony, you
I
could speak
think
to
the only
that.
thing that really you need to clarify, are you not changing any of the drainage inlets, any of the piping? That's all.
It's all the same.
It's like a
yeah.
different configuration of the layout.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look, the pool was here, and it's no longer here. All the draining, because there is a, I forgot the name of it, the Coltac in the back?
Coltacs, yeah.
Yeah, in the back, and you have all the drainage, that was
Then why
never
don't
touched.
let's get something from Hudson Engineering that there's gonna be absolutely no change to the stormwater plan.
I could
If there's a
provide that.
change, then they should just do a revision and submit that.
Great,
It's that simple.
that's, hopefully I won't charge as much. That's
Right.
perfect.
Any members of the board have questions, comments?
We wish you luck.
Thank
No,
you.
the only thing I mean, it doesn't affect your project, but it's a mystery to me. 253, when I go to Google Maps, 253 lands on the house at,
Next door?
huh?
Next door?
Yeah. I can't figure out what's going on. 253 goes to the house that's their neighbor to the south.
I don't think that's the fault of the applicant.
No, I just don't get it. I don't understand
I don't
why.
I mean,
Why?
why Google's not perfect?
Are you're 253, right?
Well, we're 247, but the numbers don't run in order, so.
Oh,
Because 250,
Divided out as well, but it's.
because I go to 253 and I say, wow, I didn't know Lee was putting a swimming pool in his backyard.
I always assumed that the person who owned 253 owned our lot as well,
Okay,
and that when they split it, they wanted to keep that number.
okay.
Why we ended up being a lower number.
It's of no consequence. It was just weird.
Any other questions?
I don't have any, no.
So if we were to approve this, would you be willing to have something in the resolution that says you have to satisfy Anthony's memo prior to being issued a permit?
Sure.
That's a question.
You could, yeah,
Just come up and speak it's a public hearing, come up and tell, we obviously know your address now, but,
Hi, I'm Dawn Gayer, 247 Judson. I just wanted some clarification, if possible, on what looks like a kind of extensive outdoor kitchen and now a fire pit, which I would assume wouldn't be a wood fire pit, but there seems to be a lot of kitchen appliances and stuff out there. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
And so I would assume that all of the setbacks are still allowable. Is that right?
yes, it did meet code. It meets the 5 foot for an accessory.
Okay. Did you have any other questions?
Just whether there's lighting on the.
Could you just step up and state your name?
We haven't really seen these plans, they just were uploaded, so we didn't get a good opportunity to look at them. But I noticed the kitchen coming out of the ground, saw all the pipes there. Can't tell what it really looks like from this, how high it is, if there's anything over it, if there's any lights or or what it's going to really look like in the end, so I don't have a really good sense of, you know, what it's going to be.
The online, online is are drawings that show what they're planning here. So you can go and look under the projects page, and you can see it in great detail. I don't think there's any, I mean, without me pulling it up here, I don't think there's any, everything's fairly low. There's no overhead structure, is there?
If the question is if it's a two-story kitchen, it's not a two-story kitchen. We're short people. It's usually around this height.
Right. Does it have a roof over it?
A roof? In what sense?
Shelter
Like a
over-
Shelter over the appliances?
No.
No? So it's really sort of nothing above 48 inches kind of thing.
Correct.
And lighting, any lighting, there's no overhead lighting that spills next door?
There is, in the future, there might be lighting if I'm out there cooking, but it's all going to be
Downward.
downward towards the work area. And, you know, we have Fusco Landscaping taking care of all the landscaping. We are trying to put as much screening as possible because we don't want to be here every other week answering questions.
Well, you probably would like some privacy as well.
I like seeing you guys because I like the field, but and Dan's a great guy, so.
So I guess it's always a concern for neighbors when somebody's putting something in that the lights on the project don't wash into their property.
As a photographer, I'm very sensitive to light, and I could appreciate that.
Did you have a pool house at one point?
No, we just had a pool,
You just had a
and really, I wanted a pool, my wife didn't, so I lost.
Okay. No, I remember going there, I just was,
Yeah.
okay. No, it looks great.
Okay, does anybody else have questions? Any open items? Valerie, Anthony? Dan?
Just Anthony's memo with showing
Okay.
some of the
We
drainage.
could review if that comes in.
Okay,
whenever
so
it comes in.
Valerie, can we add that the permit will be subject to Anthony's memos being addressed?
Can I just clarify one thing, Anthony? If I get you the approved plans for C4 and C5 showing the bluestone and a letter from Thomas saying they're okay with this
Yeah.
on the,
I have the plans.
okay,
I have the old plans. I have access to the old plans.
great.
Just that there's no change to any of the details or the stormwater plan, and that's fine.
Perfect.
As long as it's gonna
All right.
work. I just, looking at it, I guess I assumed the way you had the inlets configured in the old plan wasn't gonna work for this layout. And that'd be some change. So not seeing it right next to each other now, I can't really agree or disagree, but.
Yeah, I'll have Hudson look at it.
Yeah, then I'll
Yeah.
either agree or not, and I'll say, well, no, you need to revise it, or that's fine.
Sure.
I mean, odds are we'd have to move a few inlets around.
Right, that's what I was
It may
thinking.
just
I was
be
like,
that, yeah.
Okay, great.
Because the amount of impermeable surface isn't really, it's changing less than 100 square
Right,
feet.
right.
Yeah. So the capacity of the system is probably fine.
Yeah, the capacity is probably fine. It's more about that than.
The catch
that
basins.
That it's extra 85 square feet. It doesn't fall under 100. I think we would just look at this overall, that would have to handle that impervious area.
Yes.
So they should just speak to it, that there does not need to be any change.
Great. That's easy enough. Yes.
All right. Is there anyone else? Christina, is there anyone online who wants to speak to this? Okay. I move that we close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Valerie?
All right, whereas the applicant is seeking a site plan amendment to construct a new single-family home. The project is located at 253 Judson Avenue, whereas this application received site plan approval from the planning board at its December 9th, 2021 meeting. Now therefore be it resolved Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board of the Village of Dobbs Ferry determines that based upon the reasons and set forth below, the site plan, application for site plan approval is granted subject to the following conditions. And then it specifically refers to the site plans last revised October 16th, 2025. And then we have our typical conditions about that the planning board's approval is conditioned upon the applicant receiving all approvals from other governing agencies, and that the applicant will address to the full satisfaction of the village engineer all outstanding stormwater maintenance agreements and engineering issues. And then specifically, condition must be met before the building department issues a building permit, which would be the applicant's engineer will confirm that the stormwater plan will remain the same, and if not, a revised stormwater plan will be submitted to the village engineer for review and approval.
I make the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. It'll be good to see your house done.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is 91 Beechdale Road, public hearing for site plan approval for proposed exterior alterations, including installation of a pool, hot tub, and patios. I move that we open the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have somebody to speak to this project? Okay.
I'm representing the Wolves here. I'm from Neve Group. Sorry. Did you guys catch all that? I was just rejoining.
I want to repeat it.
All right. My name's Chris Schmidt with Neve Group. I'm representing the Wolves in regards to the pool installation and the small addition and the hot tub. I was at the pre-approval meeting last month, and nothing has changed as far as the plan goes, except we did answer the few comments from Anthony regarding the drainage. We took care of the test pits, and we submitted that paperwork actually yesterday. So I know that you guys don't have that, but we did get that into them. And other than that, nothing has changed since the last time we presented.
Okay, are you okay with us making the permit conditional on you satisfying Anthony's memo?
Yes.
I know we were, there weren't a lot of issues with this application. Does anybody on the board have concerns or questions?
There wasn't any at the time, was there?
No.
No.
We just felt, maybe it's just me, but I felt it was so close to the neighbor that we
Good.
wanted to give him a chance to
Yeah,
respond.
I'm all about it, but if it hasn't changed, then
Dan, any issues?
No issues.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anybody online to speak to the project? No? Okay, then I move that we close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we have a AHRB resolution on this, is that correct?
I have both and
You have
site
both?
plan.
Okay.
Because you technically called for a public hearing for a site plan.
Okay.
All right, so the first is whereas the applicant is seeking site plan approval to make modifications to an existing accessory structure. Now therefore be it resolved, the planning board of the Village of Dobbs Ferry determines that based upon the findings and reasoning set forth below, the application for site plan approval is granted, subject to the following conditions. It refers to the site plans dated last revised September 10th, 2025. And it does include the conditions that the applicant must address to the full satisfaction of the village engineer, all outstanding stormwater maintenance agreements, and engineering issues raised.
I make the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and AHRB?
Yes, so again, whereas the applicant is seeking AHRB approval, now therefore be it resolved, the AHRB of the Village of Dobbs Ferry determines that based upon the findings set forth below, the application for AHRB approval is granted. And then again, it also refers to the plans dated September 10th, 2025.
I make the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, you are good to go.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Have a nice evening. Okay, now we're in the pre-submission conference section of the evening. 33 Main Street. Continuation of pre-submission conference for referral from Board of Trustees, for referral from Board of Trustees for proposed new 16-unit apartment building. I know, Valerie, you want to walk us through the secret
Yes.
issues?
I do. All right, so, there are two memos that we have outstanding for the applicant to respond, both an engineering and planning memo. But we also, I wanted to get started on the, the EAF Part 2, which is basically, we did the similar exercise with the Knoll, where we went through and identified any particular issues or items we want to bring up for further review. So, and I also am going to, similar to what we did for the Knolls, I'm also going to provide them basically a memo, and I had a little bit of a draft memo that I sent to you, sort of highlighting specific concerns for this particular project. So what I'd like to do is maybe just kind of run through this particular concerns that I'm raising, and then we can kind of run through the full, the EAF Part 2.
I'm sorry to interrupt. EAF Part 2, they filled out.
No, I filled that one out.
Okay.
Then, and that is draft, so this is for the board's consideration to make any modifications or changes you'd like.
Got it.
So, just in terms of specific information that we're looking for the applicant to provide as part of the narrative would be, I identified additional information on stabilization of steep slopes, excavation required from the site, methods of removal and site stabilization, methods of erosion and sediment control and stormwater management, construction phasing, duration of construction and truck traffic, landscaping and site restoration, visual impact analysis, and then also traffic analysis of the proposed action, including the ability of internal maneuverability of the on-site parking. I'm happy to add anything else to that particular, I mean, I think this board has seen this application a few times. If there's anything else in particular that jumps out at the board.
I mean, for the places where you checked, under the various super sections,
Yes,
under the places where you checked yes,
yes.
then below,
Go ahead.
Then below that, there's two columns.
Yes,
No or small impact may occur,
yeah,
and moderate to large impact may occur.
that's correct.
The applicant, for the ones that are checked off, moderate to large impact may occur, it's now in the applicant's court to come back and say how they intend to mitigate this?
That's correct.
Okay.
Or how it's not going to be an impact. because
Okay,
of what it
yeah,
is.
that can challenge it.
Yeah.
And so have they come back with anything yet?
No, we're in the midst of, I want to be able to send this to them and say, this is what you need to respond to.
Right.
So again, similar to what I just highlighted, the biggest concerns for impact on land is really your steep slopes, and that the construction may continue for more than 1 year.
There were a couple of things that you had from moderate to large impact that wasn't clear to me why that would necessarily,
Okay, so let's go through that.
well, not in any particular order. I guess on page 9, the top of page 9,
Mm-hmm,
under the heading impact on noise, odor, and light,
yes,
we say under D, the proposed action may result in light shining into adjoining properties.
yes.
But is that really, I mean, and really that would be considered, I mean, that's bound, and as soon as somebody builds a house next to you, obviously it's going to change from being a vacant lot to having a building with windows.
Right.
Does that really count as moderate to large impact may occur?
Right, so I looked at it from, again, we have not received a lighting plan from them.
Okay.
So,
Exterior lighting.
right, I was
Is that
thinking
right?
more of exterior lighting, but
Yeah.
I'm happy to, as soon as, I mean, this particular form, just also let you know, this particular form can be revised all the way up to when you adopt
Mm-hmm.
the part three. But if you'd like to say, no to small impact, that's fine as well, but that was the reason why I picked off,
Mm-hmm.
checked off potentially,
Right,
because those, the other two properties are very close, and we don't know what types of exterior lighting they're proposing.
right. So it's more about exterior light, because I know in the next question too, that the creating sky glow brighter than existing area
Right.
conditions. I mean, presumably they're gonna meet the dark skies.
Right, presumably,
Things that-
but we don't know that. And
Okay.
that's, right, so
I
as
see.
soon as we can get that clarified, we can always just move that, potentially over.
Right. And then there was one other thing I remember, there was consistency, there was some place that had a thing about whether there were similar developments within a certain distance.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's in page 10, when it says the proposed action is inconsistent with the predominant architectural scale and character. I picked moderate to large impacts because actually this particular site, the two buildings next to it are much smaller. So that's the only reason why, again, I'm over, if
That's
this is
legit.
your,
No, that sounds right. But there was another place where there was something about whether or not there had been any developments that were similar to this built within, and then they gave a series of distance thresholds, like within a half a mile, within 3 miles, within 5 miles.
yes,
I couldn't,
it is.
here it is. It's on page,
On page.
on page 6, in the
yeah.
middle. There are similar projects visible within the following distance of the proposed project, and it goes all the way out to
Right.
5 miles. But I'm not sure, why do they think, what's the idea of the impact or non-impact of that? What do you think they're after there in the questionnaire?
Well, this,
Huh?
Who they?
Who they, the state environmental
Right,
quality
yeah.
review folks.
so this really talks about if there's similar projects visible, and it's really talking about the land, if you go back up to the impact of the aesthetic resources, the land use of the proposed action are obviously different from or in sharp contrast to the land use patterns between the proposed project and the scenic or aesthetic resource. So they're technically, the aesthetic resource, I think, is like your Hudson River, but and you also have a scenic roadway of like Route 9. But so that's why I said no to small impacts, because there is similar projects within
Okay.
all of those miles.
Okay.
And Valerie, you said no for impact on flooding.
I did
It's
because,
it's pretty steep there, but is that just,
Because they're gonna be required to take care of it on site.
yeah, so I did, so this, I don't like those questions from the state, because the flooding, technically, it's not in a 100 or 500-year flood. But then it specifically does refer to, at some point, dealing with stormwater in another section, and I think I thought I checked off maybe larger to moderate impact with that.
okay, I mean, I know they have to provide a stormwater management plan. But,
Yes, they do.
Right.
So maybe it's just redundant, but.
But, I mean, we can always, I'm happy to change that if you like.
I just wanted to bring it up because I wasn't completely sure.
I have a
We can-
question about 18B. The proposed action may create demand for additional community services.
Yes.
I guess I'm curious, like, what services, like how could that increase? Like, I mean, how many units are going to be in the construction here? Like
16.
16?
Right.
So, I mean,
Well, their examples are schools, police, fire,
Yeah.
which are all valid, I guess.
and then I guess how would, like, so this is meant as like to receive a response from the applicant.
Right.
So what would their response be to that question? Like,
That their response would probably be arguing that it's not going to, it's probably not going to create a major demand on additional resources. But the issue is we don't, again, it would just be good for the applicant to say it's only going to be 16, to provide a little bit of information as to their arguments. I mean, we haven't received any, very much, we haven't received much from the applicant. So because if we received more information from the applicant, I think we would have been able to have slightly different responses. I'm just sort of identifying potential responses because we haven't really received much information from it.
Hold your breath.
So this seems good to me.
But again, I am completely flexible. If the board feels that it really is going to be no small impact, I can completely change that and then just have, the applicant doesn't really need to respond in any particular way. I was specifically flagging things that I thought maybe, especially for example, with fire, we've been talking about fire access, just having that additional information from the applicant. But this is really up to the board on what you feel comfortable with.
Right.
Some of their engineering responses may, point you in that direction, that, it is just a small,
Yeah.
no impact.
Right.
Right now, we just don't know on certain
Right.
items.
Right. Okay.
And Valerie, you said they could change this after they get responses?
Right, so ultimately, I mean, we can keep this in draft form until such time, but this will help guide the applicant with providing you additional information.
So would now be like the time to request additional, because the one thing I was curious about was they have these apartments below that parking deck, and I'm just curious, if there's a fire, how is the fire department going to access that? I mean, they could go from whatever the below street is there, but that's it's pretty steep. So
Right,
I don't know how you
right.
get around that.
All right, so I can add that because I am putting together a memo that I'm going to send out to them based upon this discussion tonight to specifically say, please address these additional issues. And so I can specifically put fire department access of the lower units.
In the rear units.
Okay.
Dan, have you asked the fire department to take a look at this yet?
They did look at it at the beginning.
I mean, it hasn't changed that much, except for
No.
those additional apartments down below the
They
parking
were
deck.
pretty satisfied with it being, it was going to be fully sprinklered,
Okay.
but we will have them look at it again and give us a memo. I had the fire inspector also look at it. He felt confident with it. They have to supply an egress plan and everything. They haven't done that yet.
Okay. Is there anyone here to present this?
No, the applicant, he wasn't able to make it tonight. He stopped in today,
Okay.
but,
All right, I do think we should make it clear to them that we're not prepared to put this on the agenda again until some of these questions have been
I
answered.
made that clear today, and I told him we were going to send him an updated memo after tonight of all the things he has to have for us before he gets put back on the agenda.
Okay. Do we have anything else anybody wants to put on the record before we move on?
No.
No?
Okay.
So just one clarification, so I'm going to change section 5, impact on flooding, to put for moderate to large impact, the proposed action may result in or require modifications of existing drainage patterns. And then I can have the proposed action may change flood water flows that contribute to flooding. Does that feel? Is that
Yeah.
right?
So impact on flooding would be yes now?
Yes, I'll change that to yes.
And then, yes, okay.
Okay,
Feels like just where isn't that an issue in this village?
yes. Okay.
All right. 19 Livingston has been adjourned until the December 4th meeting. As just a reminder to everyone, we have a joint workshop with the Board of Trustees to try and get around some of the issues that we're running into on this project. Everyone's invited. Please come if you can.
That's on Thursday, right? 2 weeks? Or Tuesday, sorry.
November 18th.
November
I'm not
18th.
sure if that's a Thursday or not.
It's a Tuesday.
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 What- All right, the next item on the agenda is 189 Palisade Avenue, pre-submission conference for site plan approval for proposed change of property line. As I understand it, this is really just creating two, at this time, two conforming lots out of one yes and one no right now. It's likely to lead to something in the future, but that's not our purview at this moment. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, sorry, I'm here by Zoom. My name is Whitney. I'm the homeowner of 189 Palisade Avenue. So I missed a little bit as I got promoted to be on the screen. Did someone want me to present it, or anyone have questions?
Yeah, please go ahead and present.
Okay, awesome. So we live on Palisade Avenue, and we have the edge of our house. We only have a few feet on the edge of our house from our outside patio to our neighbor's house, and then they have a pretty expansive yard and empty space, and they agreed kindly to sell us a strip of their land so that we can move our lot line over a little bit and put some landscaping in between to create some privacy between us and our neighbors. So that's the impetus of what we're looking to do.
Anybody have any questions?
I'm trying to find it on,
Right there.
on Google.
You're trying to find it online, like Google Maps?
Yeah, they're moving this over to here. They're basically adding this strip to this. Now, I do notice on your plan that there are a bunch of small tax lots also as part of your
Oh, you see the
property,
the line right
up at the
there?
top of the drawing.
That's the one they want to move.
For our house?
Yours is the house on the left, right? The drawing
Ours is-
on the,
Are you
closer
on-
to Flower?
Are you closer to Flower?
Closer to Flower, exactly.
Do you have a
Maybe
copy
that's
of
just the way they, sorry.
survey?
Say that again?
Do you have a copy of the survey that you provided?
Yes. You
plan?
want me to project it, or?
No, we've got it here. I assume everyone.
We're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, they're just all these different tax lots shown on the plan.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean, like filed lot 38, filed lot
yes.
39.
One Palisades.
Yes, it's just one big, or not
You
that
just
big.
received one tax bill for one tax lot?
We just get one tax bill, yep.
So, so it's one, it looks like,
lots, but they're not measuring. Yeah, I mean, those are, surveyed lots would be what.
So they could all be part of one deed
Right.
and be all still multiple tax lots?
I see.
Yeah, they're just for tax assessment purposes.
Okay, so that's not a concern.
It shows in our system too as one lot in Municity and on Greenberg.
Interesting. Okay, so maybe they were joined at some point in the past, and this is older?
This was the
or-
same thing on 5 Maplewood, had the same situation, and there was one parcel, acts as one parcel.
Okay, but doesn't have any issues regarding this, the property transfer or anything
It's
like
not
that?
unusual either.
Okay.
so it's 20 feet that they're purchasing?
I wonder if that's her.
20 feet they're purchasing? How much?
Covering their eyes.
Yeah.
They're the same.
20 feet,
So the strip is 20 feet wide, correct?
That's right, yep.
okay. Yeah,
This is an existing non-conforming on the property line right now, so they're actually making it more conforming.
okay.
Yeah.
You want to move it on this side, Ken, or this side?
It's right here, I think.
You want to move it this way?
Yeah.
Buying this 20 feet over here.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
No?
This
No.
Okay.
Sounds like a good thing.
Okay, any issues with the building department?
No.
Legal?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to, based on advice of our professional team, I'm going to propose that we call for a public hearing at the next meeting for both preliminary and final plat approval.
I'm good with that.
Okay, I make the motion. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll see you next month.
Thank you. Do I need to provide anything else? I had gotten an email about looking for some information that was missing, but I couldn't understand what it was that I needed to provide that wasn't in the application. It was,
Is there a subdivision plat that was submitted?
Yeah.
there was a combined survey that was submitted with the subdivision
Yeah, you need, you
markings.
actually need,
No, we
I
haven't
think they,
received the plat yet.
yeah, we actually need to receive a plat. That's one of the things that you need to submit next time.
Okay, is there anyone who could explain to me the difference between what I provided and what a plat is? And I'm sorry, I just don't know who to go to with the question, because I asked the surveyor for a plat and they gave me what I submitted.
Does it have the signature blocks?
It doesn't.
On it? Oh.
No,
but you
and
should
it'll be on
know.
like Mylar.
With the signature blocks, because we're gonna try to get this on for both preliminary and final plat, so we'll need like, the survey with actual signature blocks on it.
Signature blocks, is that what you said?
Yeah, have your surveyor contact the building department if they're still confused.
Perfect, I will do that. Anyone specific in the building department?
Dan?
So say it again?
What, I can't
Oh,
hear
way to
you.
dodge.
I can't hear you.
Dan
You're gonna
Romer.
contact.
My hearing
Yeah,
is bad.
contact Dan Romer.
You're gonna-
Yes,
yeah.
definitely.
Dan Romer.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
You will.
All right, thank you. We'll see you next month.
All right, see you next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is discussion of proposed project at 98 Palisades Street.
Thank you, good evening. We never thought we'd be here, beyond before 8 o'clock, so I'm glad we showed up a little early. It's great to see you. Maybe you'll get home earlier than anyone thought. I'm here with Kevin Hartnett, the owner of the properties, and my colleague Seth Wiley from my office. And we're going to take you on a little tour of Palisade Street, but obviously the start of it is your own work product for the character guidelines, which sort of are driving this proposal for infill development, and which leaves existing buildings on Palisade Street and then builds some units behind it. And so that's what I'm going to walk you through. This is Palisade Street looking at the properties. You can see the Pompey Church on the corner. This is Chestnut Street, which then becomes Ogden Park. This is the development attached to 75 Main. And these are the three parcels at 98, 104, and 110 Palisade Street, owned by Kevin Hartnett, which we're treating as a single zoning lot. Again, at this point, they are like other zoning lots comprised of three separate tax lots. But they're in common ownership, and the notion that we would combine this into a single lot as part of this process. But we're here for a discussion because we wanted to get a sense from you whether, how, advice about how to proceed with this and some test of your sense of our proposal. So going down Palisade, Pompey on the left, 75 Main on the right, and then you start to see 98 with this little gable and this kind of a little mini tower and the front porch, all following those character-defining elements that were identified in that study, with the proximity and the nice little gap from a landscape gap from the sidewalk up to the building. this is 98. We will be removing some really kind of not very well done additions from the back, which will be clearing up some space in the back, but kind of restoring this building to its previous form. And then as you move on, you get to 104, and both of these buildings have permits at this point to begin the renovation of them into the removal of the additions and their transformation back into single-family houses. And then finally, you can see 110, which unfortunately is compromised in lots of ways. I mean, the inspection report says the foundation is shot, but not only that, the wood framing is termite infested. So that's like, the third strike is that the roof framing is 2x4s on 36-inch centers. So now, I mean, I'm not intimidated by, you know, as many of you know probably, I'm not, my office is not intimidated by old buildings, but this one really is shot. And so this building will be replaced by a new house conforming to the character guidelines that are established in the setbacks. So now we're going to take a walk through the property up the driveway between 110 and 104, and then back up behind 98, and then back out to Palisade Street. So this is the territory then you'll see in plan that is being developed. Now this a kind of old, kind of concrete striped walkway going up behind 104. And then this, the kind of remnants of various structures and barbecue pits and things like that, retaining walls, outdoor living. You can see one of the additions on 104 that's actually going to be removed so that we're restoring the back porch that originally was under this gable on the back side of 104. And then we're moving towards 98, past this little wonderful castellated barbecue pit in the Gothic Revival style. And then looking at 98, looking at the addition that will be removed in the back, not very well built, not very useful. A garage which will be going away, and looking at the barn which is now inhabited by a couple of decorative painters, kind of really wonderful adaptive reuse that we did, I think 2 years ago already now, and we're here before you for that. So then turning around past the arbor vitae kind of hedge, looking back out, and this landscape, the Japanese maple that will stay, and back out to Palisade Street. So this is the aerial, looking down, and this is our proposal. And you can see actually much less impervious surface, but you can see that these are slightly shifted 20 by 32 units, single-family units, paired on each side of a parking area. Kevin is committed to full code-compliant parking on site. No need for pileup or anything like that. And then additional unit is back here behind 110. I'm showing it as slightly larger because the footprint allows it, but the likelihood, especially if we go to some panelized prefab construction from a place like Bensonwood in New Hampshire, which we're considering, would probably be the template to do it in the same footprint would make the economic sense to do that. So the parking over here at 110 is 2 spaces for each unit, and then the spaces for the new units on each side are provided on each side adjacent to those units, and then 2 spaces with a landscape intervention for the new single-family or for the renovated single-family houses adjacent. The actual parking areas will be DEP approved pervious paving. The drive path, it seems unlikely that we'll need to have pervious paving there, impervious paving there. Any questions about this?
We're looking at it on 3D here, too.
Okay.
Sorry.
So the new house on the,
In relation to the parking, also I might add, there's actually 2 additional spots that are provided there, in addition, over and above what's required.
Well, yeah, what is the required parking here?
2 per unit.
2, yes.
2 per unit.
Yeah.
so,
And,
go ahead, sorry.
well, no, and how does the parking requirement relate to the 3 existing buildings that are staying? They just get thrown into the same calculation?
They're now single-family houses, so they only need 2 parking spaces.
How many bedrooms will the new units be?
2, 2.5. I mean, they're.
2.5.
Yeah.
2 bedrooms?
2 bedrooms on the 2nd floor, and then there's an attic space, or a 3rd floor space. But I think they're single-family residences, right?
Right.
They're not apartments, so you don't get into the, I think it's just 2 per.
Right, I think.
2 per residence.
The 2 per unit.
Now, are there 5 shown in that lower
They're
section?
14 plus 4 is 18, so we've got 2 extra spaces.
Yeah, okay, that was my question. Now, also, what about street parking? Can any of that be included in this to try and minimize some of the impervious surface?
If you look at Palisade Street, you'll see that it's parked. And so if we try to suggest, we try to economize, and look, we're reducing the impervious surface on this lot. So because there's so much residue of impervious paving, including gravel that's impervious, that we're greening the site. So we're able to park with pervious paving in the parking areas and reduce impervious net on the property while we're adding 5 units. So I see that as an environmental and infill housing win-win.
No, that's a clear win. It's just that when you're downtown and you're near mass transit, we try and minimize the parking as much as we can.
Yeah, like, I guess, is your desire to have 2 parking spaces per unit, is that driven by your sense of the market and the saleability of the units?
I think Kevin is a longtime resident of this part of Dobbs Ferry, and I think it's a mission on his part to make sure that there's adequate access here, and it's not increasing the issue on Palisade Street, which is tricky. Because even though there's a lot at the other end, you've got this issue at this end.
Because we're so close to transit here. I feel like.
I have a question,
Like,
Steve.
like what is what is our requirement along Cedar and Main, like in the downtown core, for parking.
Yeah, but this is also assuming that that the people are gonna be taking the train.
Well, yeah, but so does our reduced requirement. Don't we have a reduced requirement along Cedar and Main for parking per unit? What is the,
You can reduce it at the planning board, but a new building requires the parking.
Right, you can reduce it based upon findings that the applicant feels that their building is actually gonna have people using the trains, but at this point, that's not the applicant's position. Like,
right, but I thought that the parking ratios in the downtown, the baseline, before they ask us for anything, were lower than 2 spaces per unit.
not for single family.
This is MDR2, it's not downtown.
Yeah, I know.
Again,
but it is downtown.
I would argue that there's no environmental deficit here by providing pervious, parking. In addition, we're, there's the barn is under park, right? So at this point, so we're able to fulfill an issue kind of left by legacy from the previous project, and there's legacy because you didn't need to provide something because of the use that was already there. On the other hand, there's still somebody with a car, right? And
So does that, the barn is over behind those, south of those houses or whatever? The barn is over here? You have to draw, where's the barn in relationship to this?
So the barn's not staying.
It's on Main Street.
The barn is on Main
yeah,
Street.
it's right, the barn is right here along that
That's what I
property line,
thought, okay.
right?
So
Because
you're
the
saying that
barn-
they could possibly use one of those spaces during the day or whatever?
So I think, and one of the things I just want to bring the board's attention is that this particular project does not meet any of the zoning, right? So this is something that I think, before we get into the weeds of like how many spaces, I think we might need to take a step back and just talk about the concept. Because if the board really loves this concept, then I think the next step would be, I think the building department would have to determine whether this means a zoning text amendment or, something like that associated with this.
So I have to say that I think, speaking for myself, this checks a lot of those boxes where we like additional density. It's downtown, it's near mass transit, all those things. So I'm sympathetic to creating additional density here, but to Valerie's point, yeah, there we go. Do we have a zoning table and, what are the challenges associated with that?
I think it's either it's a cluster that's permitted in MDR2, arguably. I think it is, that's just me. Or it's a multifamily housing complex, which is more than one residential building on a single lot. And so that's, to me, it's simple. I don't see there's any issue.
You're going to do a subdivision to combine all the lots.
Yeah, the lots are combined. It's a single zoning lot that's comprised right now of multiple tax lots like the previous applicants. So zoning lot is, can be of multiple lots. But I think we would go through some process to create a single lot because this is going to be under one ownership and management.
So what process would we go through at this point to analyze the zoning chart and see if this fits into the definition of cluster development or some other mechanism, assuming that we're interested in exploring this further? We need to figure out a way that we could make this, let's say we say, hey, we like this.
Mm-hmm.
How do we make it work in the real world, from a legal
I
standpoint?
think the applicant would have to bring us in a code compliant or what they're deciding, what they want to do.
Okay.
I wouldn't,
No, I'm not saying we're to
Yeah.
design it for them. I'm saying, I'm looking for their, to define their next steps for us to be able to analyze it to
Right,
see
I
if it
think-
conforms to the cluster code or some other mechanism.
Right, I think maybe they'd have to first work with like what it is that is allowed on that site, you know, based on the current MDR2. And then if they are proposing to do this as cluster, then to demonstrate how they meet the codes and what type of open space they're, and what natural resources they're protecting on that site, because that's all part of the reason for the cluster. You know, it's not, the cluster's not, the purpose is not to maximize, like, you know, the highest and best use of the site. It's
One of the
meant to
purposes
preserve.
of cluster is to create a variety of housing types,
Yeah, but if you look in the cluster,
which we're doing.
right, but if you look in the cluster provisions, it's not solely on that. It's also, you have to provide so much you're supposed to provide open space and protect natural resources. So I'm just,
Yeah.
we have to take a look at that and, you know,
But it's interesting, when you look at the cluster thing, there is no absolute single thing. You know, we all know in our minds what cluster normally is. That it's, you know, you have this big property so that you stay away from the mountaintops and you see cluster down at the bottom or something like that. But it's interesting that there isn't actually an absolute thing in our code. And so I think it qualifies, but we're happy to do it as a multifamily housing complex by special permit. I mean, that means you would be, the planning board has to act, you know, no matter what, we're here before you. So whether you are acting, providing a special permit for a multifamily housing complex, which may be easier, you know, for people to absorb.
Well, as I understand it, I mean, for us to take any next steps, we need the project fleshed out a little more. And before we ask you to spend money on that, how do we feel about the massing and the location
Right,
of the
right.
structures and all
Yeah,
that stuff?
I mean, I was gonna say, I thought that part of the hope here was that you would get some idea from us about how we feel about the direction of the
Yep,
concept.
absolutely.
So, so I do have some thoughts about that.
Okay.
Can I come up there, because it's harder to, or we could meet,
Yeah,
and I could share my thoughts, and you may not like
yeah,
it.
go for it.
Steve,
You may not like it.
Seems very,
So,
yeah.
to me, the sort of symmetrical campus idea around the park does seem a little bit out of the character pattern. And I'm wondering if it isn't possible for, rather than having all the parking collected in place, and to have these sort of four buildings, if it isn't possible, could it lay out a little bit more hideous? Like why, like, so that when you look in here, or when you walk down here, you're gonna basically be looking at the parking lot. I'm wondering if it isn't possible for some of the units to be somehow have a somewhat more dynamic relationship to the pre-existing structures, besides just kind of bilateral, to give it a little bit more of a character.
Yeah.
How to say, you know, like that, because it doesn't all have to be collected here, right? You could theoretically, one of these buildings could actually be looking near one of the buildings and work the parking. I mean,
Well,
you're not at the
if we
same
do
time
our
as you
solar
are.
trellis, if we do our solar trellis, like on Broadway, then on those two lots, and that's a really nice structure you're looking. I mean, I tried it in the middle, but what happens is that there's much more impervious surface getting to the other parking, satellite parking. So I have other, you know, iterations which were run through, but yeah, I mean, I get it, yeah. No,
I mean, because
Well, also,
I like the idea.
I respect, you know, I respect that.
I
impulse.
like the additional density,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I support the project at that level.
Yeah.
I think there's something about the site plan that looks
Yeah.
overly,
Steve, when all the lots are combined, is it an acre? How big is the whole?
It's a little over half an acre.
A half an acre?
A little bit over half.
Okay.
It's, the lots are, they're all 120 feet deep. 98 is 100 feet wide, 104 is 80 feet wide, and 110 is 40 feet wide. And, you know, the 40-foot wide lot is probably more similar to what most of the rest of Palisade Street is as you go north of Palisade Street. There's very little parking on any of those lots as you go north of Palisade Street.
And Steve, did you look at adding a fourth built structure right on Palisades with a driveway going up between them and having the parking more hidden back there?
Say that again?
So you have the left-hand building on Palisade.
98.
Yeah, and then there's an open gap, there's a gap.
Yeah.
And that's what I was wondering if you looked to see if you could fit a structure in there that would look, meet the Palisade guidelines and still have a driveway, room for a driveway that would come up.
This amazing specimen Japanese maple that has secured its lifeline in this.
so, kill it.
wanna
if you
mess
move
with
it.
40 or 50 years. So there's a retaining wall already there. This is the entrance, where you're gonna lose a major asset. Basically, yes, you're looking right now you're looking into a really, not very good spot. Right,
So yes, you looked at it,
there's some kind of trellis stuff for the parking that would edge off. If I get Rob's thing, I'll haul out those diagrams.
I'd be happy to
Email
sit.
them to everybody. So, I mean, yeah, so the general thing is, we have to rebuild this thing. And we're underbuilding significantly by MDR2 with 800 square feet. So, we could build, theoretically, you could never do it, but theoretically, that's 30, 40 units. But, and we're way under on coverage, and we're actually reducing impervious surface. So,
I mean, I think in terms of impervious coverage, so I understand, I think you're saying the impervious coverage is going to be reduced because of the surfaces you're proposing, but in that MDR2, it's like 60% impervious coverage, no more. So, I mean, clearly, if those parking lots were impervious, then they would exceed that amount. So I think that's part of the reason why they're
no,
saying
actually
that
not.
there's 40%
Yeah,
of,
actually not. It met it before what happened was, we were still under, and when I did the pervious parking spaces, then we actually reduced, we were less than we started with, which I was surprised about. But we were okay before that.
What were you thinking about doing with how were you going to create pervious parking spots? Just gravel?
DEP pervious paving,
Mhm.
which is, they have a list of pavers. DEP is the most strict about pervious paving. And there's other stuff that they won't accept that other municipalities accept.
Are you referring to New York City DEP?
Yes.
Okay, so that's
Yeah,
like
'cause I'm
15%
working-
pervious.
I'm working on a couple of properties.
So that's like a grass paver or something like that?
No, actually.
Or 50, you need 50% open.
Yeah, it's actually, the stuff is, I don't know, it's on their list.
That's been my
And they'll accept, yeah, right, yeah.
Steve, what is the net change? Just, so I can get that one number back in my head. What is the net change in terms of the number of units in the three structures now versus the total number of units? Let's say if we did your scheme, just the way you've drawn it.
There's seven apartments today.
Across the three buildings? Okay, and then, so that's 7, and but you're reducing those, no?
I'm sorry?
Did I understand that you're actually reducing?
Well, no, so as part of this proposal,
Right,
what we're looking to do is to take the units that are on Palisade Street and make them all single family.
so do we lose units in that process?
That's 7.
And we're going from 7 to 8.
Huh?
We now have 8 single-family houses, but we had some really weird apartments. We had 7 apartments, but some of them are really weird. And, kind of.
Now you have 8.
8 real single-family residences. Yeah.
Steve, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, 110 is going away.
Yeah.
And the new 110 you're building is a lot closer, it's to 104 than where it's existing now.
A little closer, yeah.
Is where I'm looking at. So the setbacks are,
Well, it's becoming one lot.
okay, so it's just all,
But it's all, there just needs to be code-compliant distance between buildings, not zoning setbacks.
so my other question is, currently the driveway to the north of 110 goes to somebody's garage, the neighboring property's garage in the back,
No,
barn?
No.
there's actually a separate housing unit on, to the north of 110.
Yes.
There's a house effectively on the sidewalk. And
Right.
then behind that house is another house.
And that driveway is the
That
driveway?
driveway just goes up to that second house.
It's right here.
Right, so when you rebuild 110, you're going to establish a new driveway for your property?
Correct.
There is no driveway for 110 today.
Yes, that's what I understand.
Yeah, so we're moving the house to where the driveway is right now.
To the
for
south.
104.
Right.
Yes,
Right?
okay.
So basically, it's not impinging necessarily on this, so like, in a way, we're shifting this driveway
Yeah, no,
to this side of the property.
Now I understand, yes.
Right, and the house shifts over to where the driveway was.
Yep, yeah, thank you.
And there's some hope that the landscape remains. And that's always, when you're building a house,
Right.
you have to build a bulwark against the contractors.
Okay.
Is there an easement in place now to get to 81 Main Street through that property?
No,
No.
I think it's just a sewer easement.
no, for 81.
Oh, 81,
There's no
okay.
bank, there's
Yeah.
no-
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, this, I didn't get to, this is the sort of landscape view, and then just, primitive footprints of no basement, so the mechanicals are in closets, and then these are little sketches of how these shifted pairs could work, minimize the kind of complications of the connection and the adjacency, and both a kind of contemporary approach and a more of a gable approach.
So what do you need from us?
Well, I mean,
Tonight.
you talked about possible reductions in parking because we're so
Right.
close to transit,
Right.
and so on and so forth. You can have a private conversation with Kevin about that mission.
Well, I'll speak to that right now.
Okay.
you know, there is a parking issue in the village of Duxbury. I mean, coming down to the village during the day, you know, I know people who live in town who will not drive the car into town to go to a restaurant for dinner because they can't find parking. On top of many people I know in other communities around Duxbury who won't come to Duxbury because of the parking issue. So, you know, Steve said I'm on my own little mission. I mean, the pilot program is a recipe for disaster if you just expand that going forward in time. You know, letting people pay for a parking spot, but there's a limit at some point. Where are people in the, for the commercial district going to park? It's a major problem. We're trying to provide parking for the residents who will live in this development. I'm sitting here at a loss to understand
And for their
why you're arguing against that concept.
And for their visitors
And how do you know
who come for dinner.
who's gonna be, how would you ever know or accept that a developer is building an apartment house somewhere in town and that all the residents are gonna be commuting to the city?
You can't know, but you can estimate. I mean, there are a lot.
You can estimate, but if you're wrong on that estimate, you're just further aggravating the parking issue in the community.
Well, all I can tell you is, as Yogi Berra said, nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. If you think about the downtown, the vibrant downtowns that we're surrounded by, the ones that I like to go to the most are the ones where parking is almost hopeless. If you go to Tarrytown and you try to park there, it's almost impossible. Similarly in Bronxville. So why are there so many people there? Because it's desirable, and people will go to the trouble of driving around the block a few times to find a place to park. Because you can either have a downtown that's oriented towards cars, and where people are guaranteed to be able to park within 3 spots of the store, or you have a downtown that's so vibrant and walking is so pleasant that they don't expect or even want to be able to park right in front of where they're going to shop. And personally, that's the model of downtown. That's the model of the successful downtowns in Westchester. The successful downtowns in Westchester do not have ample parking. In fact, I would argue there is a kind of basic contradiction in the world of urban design. You can either have a lot of parking, convenient parking, or you can have a vibrant downtown. I don't know of any that have both. Now, now this village has tried to move towards making it as pedestrian-oriented as possible, which has meant trying to, short of creating a crisis, make parking, we're not trying to make parking easier. Parking should be just what you need based on how much people want to come here to be willing to find a place. I eat in Dobbs Ferry all the time. I shop here. I don't have a problem with parking. So I don't know, when people tell me that they, you know, I mean, sometimes I have to drive a block and a half away from where I want to go, but
Yeah, but.
that's the price I pay for being in
But you
a
have
nice
a driveway,
downtown.
right?
Huh?
You have a driveway?
At your house.
At your house? You have a driveway?
Yeah.
So I live in a building where for 10 years, I didn't have a parking spot.
Right.
So I had to drive around looking and looking and looking, and sometimes I'd have to park 2 or 3 blocks away and haul my groceries with my 2 dogs and up the hill, and, you know, so for me, I feel like he's being responsible by providing parking spaces for the people that live there.
Right, I just think the amount of parking that
And
a
I think
development like this should provide for people living there should be the minimum.
Well,
You know, and if you live that close to a train station,
yeah, but like, I don't take the train. You know?
I'm not,
I have to drive. A lot of people don't travel to the city.
no, but a lot of people and a lot of the
And I don't personally drive to Dobbs Ferry because to go out to dinner because there is no parking.
That's not true.
And I have friends that I walk with in the morning, and they don't come to the village because there's no parking.
I don't know any of those stories, and I don't have any trouble
But I'm
parking in
just-
Dobbs Ferry. So,
And I work in Terrytown, and you know, I understand, there's no parking there either, you know?
and it's booming.
Yeah, it's booming.
There's
but-
a direct, I would argue with you that there's a indirect relationship between the amount of parking you can find in a downtown and how successful it is.
Well, Terrytown definitely has more parking than Dobbs Ferry.
Yeah, I'm sorry I started with your parking comment. I can go to the other comment, which was look at a more dynamic relationship between the buildings. That's
Yeah.
maybe less controversial. But,
Right.
I mean, we are obligated by code, we'd have to ask for a variance in this zone for single-family residences to provide less parking, so, and also, you know, there is this issue of the barn and kind of.
Because you're a block away from Cedar and Main, and along Cedar and Main, what do we require per dwelling unit?
For a new,
We don't require 2 spaces per dwelling unit, right?
It's not dwelling, he's proposing single-family homes, that's why.
right,
It's different.
so
As opposed to apartments.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, so to answer that question, where's the requirement if for building on a new building or renovated building on Main Street that is 2 bedrooms? Is it 1 spot, is it 2 spots?
for a 2-bedroom would be 2 spots and then a quarter per bedroom, I believe after that. I have to look it up to be sure, but
Beyond the 2 bedrooms.
But is it a house or is it a apartment building?
a building you're talking about.
On
Yeah.
Main Street,
Any building?
any building.
Is it 2 spots for the first unit or, first bedroom, or is it 1 spot plus .25 for the additional?
I'm not sure, I gotta look it up.
That's,
I think that's what it is.
that's what I thought it
It
was.
translates to effectively to 2 spots.
No, it doesn't.
You know, if you have 2
It
bedrooms,
translates into less than 2 spaces. per
It'll go,
dwelling.
to maybe it is 1 spot, and then, after that, it's a quarter per bedroom
I
or
think that's
something,
right.
and they reduce down.
I think that's right. Yeah,
I can't remember how it works now.
yeah.
But anyway, I mean, you're right, we don't have to resolve that, the philosophical question about the relationship of parking to dynamic downtowns. My main thing, I personally would have as little parking on that site as I could get away with.
Yeah.
But more than that is this idea of there being a somewhat more dynamic relationship between the parking areas and the way the buildings are arrayed on the site. I think it'd be more interesting
Yeah.
than what's.
I should, yeah, right, exactly, okay. I should note that this current relationship has units that are slightly less than have slightly less than the 25-foot required rear yard, which does apply, 'cause, even if it's a single lot. So there would be a waiver for that departure
Right.
as part of site plan approval.
Okay.
I worked on.
Anyway, thank you very much.
So do you have like, was this helpful at all, or?
No, it's very helpful, and I just think the next, I'll await Valerie and Danny to give me some direction on whether we, you know, what direction we think this could move in.
Right, so I think maybe submit your plans with the zoning table to Dan, and then we can take a look at it, and we'll give you your options of process.
This plan with the zoning table was submitted,
With elevations and
Part of this.
everything, the setbacks.
part of this discussion.
Okay.
I need something more than the rendering.
No, this is, the zoning table, this zoning drawing has the table and the text.
The elevations, the slopes, the height for the heights and everything.
Yeah, the heights would be all compliant.
Well, I need that shown on the application.
Right, but I think, I mean, at this point, my guess is just based on looking at this. I mean, we'll have to look at it from the MDR1 perspective. Like, I think the cluster development wouldn't necessarily apply here.
MDR1?
I mean, MDR2, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, because the cluster development wouldn't necessarily apply here, because the cluster development is like, each village has the ability to do cluster development based upon this New York State cluster development statute, and it's specifically for conservation of like scenic resources and stuff. It's not just to apply a different type of housing, right? Because anybody, you could then, that's not the purpose of a cluster development. Now, we'd have to take a look at what you're proposing, because you mentioned multifamily. But
Multifamily housing complex, which the definition is more than one residential building on a single lot.
right, so we would have to take a look at whether the complex, because multifamily housing has its own definition, which is 4 units or more within one building. So like, I think we have to
That's not
look.
the definition in our code, however.
Well, your multifamily housing has one definition, multifamily housing complex has another definition.
Right, exactly.
So I
It
think.
doesn't mention multifamily buildings.
Right. My point is, Dan will have to take a look at everything and then decide how he's interpreting that. And then you would ultimately, we can give you the process that you would need to pursue. That's all.
So, but maybe we can have a discussion about that because, I've got a point of view about it that, I'd like to go back and forth about it.
Right, well, I think, then Dan Posen can also assist with that, I mean, the point is, it comes down to zoning, legal terms, and figuring out what it
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
So my dilemma is that I'd like to see, obviously with your approval, but I applied for permitting to change the homes that are there from a 3-family house to a single-family house.
Right, you were approved on those.
Well, I understand that, but depending on the answer to the question about multifamily complex or cluster development, I may then decide, well, I'm not going to change it to a single-family house. So I'm just trying to understand what we're allowed to do here, so that I can decide how I want to proceed.
Right.
So it becomes a timing issue for me. I'm obviously more sensitive to that than you might be, and I understand that. But nonetheless, I don't want to, the reason that we wanted to come here this evening was to see if we could get some sort of indication from the planning board in terms of what we could or couldn't do, so that I could proceed. Because then, I don't know what I'm trying to understand what my options are here.
Well,
And it's difficult to get someone to simply answer that question.
well,
I'm getting that you're sympathetic to the impulse here.
right, I was going to say, I mean, I'll
Let's
just
find a way to
I'll
do
just
it.
speak for myself, and then the other board members speak up. I think this is a perfectly viable I think there's some things to be worked out about massing. I guess we're not all necessarily on the same page about parking, but if you're asking me to conceptually, is this like a kind of a working idea? I would say yes. And it comports with things we're trying to do, which is to get more density downtown. So.
Yeah, speaking
I
for
don't know.
myself, I agree with Rob. So I think we're, I can't speak for the other members of the board, but, in general, we like to encourage development in exactly these locations for all those reasons. And
Me too,
I think we're sympathetic to your concept. How we execute it is going to require working through these details.
Right.
And we'll move them along as quickly as we can, but we have to follow the zoning code.
Yeah, sure.
And we need to dot the i's and cross the t's.
It seems to me, sitting there, that it's in some cases a definitional issue here between cluster housing.
Yes. Right.
What was quote as acceptable to that versus a multi-family housing complex and what's acceptable for that.
That's got to be worked through.
Like, I don't go to.
And, my belief is that what we're presenting could fit under either of those. But we're just trying to get someone to say yes or no.
Well, yes or no to what? Like,
Well,
yes or no to the concept, we're saying yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes or no to,
All right.
Well, what I'm hearing from Valerie is that that some of this may not fit within the existing code. What I hear from Steve is that he believes that it does fit. Sure. That to me seems like a question that could get answered tomorrow. It doesn't need to be, you know. I'm sensitive to the fact that, I've been here, we submitted this back in the original one. So we had to waited for the renovations and the other see, but now I'm a little concerned that whether or not we're going to be able to proceed or not. So
I think we could,
I'm just trying to find out how can we get some recognition that, yes, it's moved forward. So I either start the renovation work or I don't start the renovation.
Well, they clearly need additional detail on the plans in order to proceed with evaluating the application.
No, I understand, but I think.
Are you asking us, do we approve, do we like,
I'm not asking you to approve, but.
no, not approve, but like, what is our initial reaction to it?
Elevations, I mean, Steve is saying, we're gonna conform to the we'll do what we have to do to conform to the elevation. Elevation shouldn't be a gating issue here.
I know, but we need to have it documented.
Process, though.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
It's a process.
Well, no, we just wanted, in this discussion, we want to be able to proceed. If you feel that there's some zoning obstruction to the general, to achieving the general sense that this is positive, then that's a threshold issue. And so the question is, for us to proceed with designing buildings, as opposed to footprints and floor plans, that's we need to know that, as Kevin said, we've gotten through the first gate, which is that this concept of, the campus on these 3 lots is viable. We all seem to like it.
Yep.
Because it's infill housing. We're saving the houses on
Right.
Palisade Street,
Yep.
keeping the character in place. Building where there's a bunch of crummy stuff already in the back that's covering a lot of soil. So let's figure out a way to do it.
right, and I think it's just the thing that would expedite it. I mean, I don't know what Dan's schedule is, but I think rather than you submitting more drawings, would be kind of a powwow with Dan and maybe with Valerie to kind of come to a closure around this cluster versus multifamily thing, and then you'd be home free.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, I think you're getting a positive response from the board here
I like it.
for it to go ahead.
Yeah.
Right, but there's a process.
Right.
Okay, and they need enough documentation to make that evaluation, and their consensus is right now they don't have enough.
Okay.
So I maybe just some, more detailed envelopes. I don't know quite in building envelopes. I'm not quite sure what they need, but, we can't really go any further until they get the information they need to make that evaluation. So
I agree with you, Alan, but I guess what I'm saying is, it seems like if Dan, or maybe Dan, Valerie, and Steve sat down together, they could figure out exactly what does need to be submitted in order to move the discussion along, rather than them going through iterations of.
no, we're not looking for that either.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you guys communicate enough so that they
We
can
could set,
generate
we
what you
could set
need?
up something, sit down.
Yeah.
We go way back, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Good.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we're interested.
hopefully we'll get the bulk of these questions answered by next month.
Let's hope.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, good.
I just want to say there's one other issue.
Oh, okay.
So I was thinking about our never-ending goal of burying the wires
Oh, yes.
on downtown.
Parking wasn't enough.
And I happened to notice that one of the proposals for New York Forward was replacing the sidewalks.
Yes.
And I was like, can we possibly, I was thinking, can we possibly figure out a way to rough in the low voltage and line voltage conduit?
Low voltage wires are going to be going under part of that. That one will get through.
Oh, okay. Well, interesting. Well, I was thinking at least we could rough in the low voltage and line voltage conduits so that you only have to dig up one square of the sidewalk to connect it.
Are they doing that,
in the
Steve, as
future.
part of that streetscape?
Yeah,
They-
just like they did on the other side of Main Street.
Uh-huh.
Excellent.
The low voltage wires are going on Cedar Street, and there's a fair number of them, so it's a noticeable improvement, doesn't look this all.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad somebody's looking at it. That was,
And I think that one is one of the ones that, because it's connected to aqueduct things, so we like that one, I think the state will like it.
okay. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The
All right,
the cost estimates have conduit for low voltage wire.
It is.
No, I don't think they did.
But then the tricky thing, I guess.
All right, so Anthony said there is some money in there for this. I just wanted you guys to know that,
We added that into the, at the last minute.
Steve informed us there's some movement from his